y'all, it's Jessica from Sloppy Swatches. Today I have the Beauty and the Beast spring collection that's available right now from Morgan Taylor. These were sent to me through Preen.me's VIP program. If you're interested in that, I'll leave a little link down below where you can read more. This is a collection of 6 gorgeous polishes and then a transforming kind of top coat. So I'll go ahead and get into the swatches. So first up is Pots of Tea, and this is inspired by Mrs. Potts. This is described as a white cream. It does have a very subtle red shimmer in there, as well as maybe some really tiny microflakes. Those are really delicate on the nail and kind of don't translate super well. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Pots of Tea swatched on my natural nail. So here is this first coat. This is a sort of milky, kind of thin polish. It was pretty streaky and a little bit sheer on this first coat. So I'll let this dry and then come back in and show you what my second looked like. So here is my second coat, and you can just barely make out that really delicate red shimmer. This second coat does build it up, but it's still not completely opaque for me. So I'll let this dry and then come back in for a third and final coat. So here is my third coat, and this is really going to help this one level out a little bit. As you can see there, I did have some thin spots, but this third coat brings it completely opaque for me. So here's a look at that completed mani before top coat. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting. And then once more at an angle under artificial lighting. So next up is Plumette with Excitement, and this is one of my top picks. It's described as a baby pink cream, but it does have a touch of nude in there that keeps it really light and really classy. I really feel like this is going to be a polish that flatters almost every skin tone. So I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Plumette with Excitement swatched on my natural nail. So here is the first coat. One thing I want to mention is that this is one of my all-time favorite brushes for polishing. It's got a nice curve to it that really helps you get close to the cuticle area without flooding it. This first coat is a little bit streaky and a little bit sheer, so I'll let that dry and then come back in for my second coat. I am going to go a little bit thicker here with the second coat. I didn't have too much flooding, but I think it's definitely something you need to watch for with these. They are a little bit on the thinner side. 2 coats does bring this one completely opaque for me. So here's a look at that completed mani before top coat. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle under artificial lighting. So next up is Be Our Guest, and this is described as a bold berry cream. So this is a very bright pink. I wouldn't say it's neon or anything like that. It does have nice berry tones to help mellow it out. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Be Our Guest swatched on my natural nail. So here is one easy coat. Again, this is a little bit on the thinner side, but it's super pigmented. It looks great at one coat. I did have a little flash of visible nail line, so I'll let that dry and then show you what my second coat looks like. So here is my second coat. This one does dry down a little bit darker than it applies, but 2 coats for sure brings this one completely opaque. I really feel like you could get away with one with a really careful application. So here's a look at that completed mani before top coat. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and once more at an angle under artificial lighting. So next up is the last petal, and this is described as a burgundy cream. However, it does have a very strong, almost berry tone shimmer running throughout. It really brightens it up, and I feel like lightens it up, especially from what's on the website. This is a little bit more pink than it is red for me. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how the last petal swatched on my natural nail. So here is one really easy, really opaque coat. This is definitely a 1-coat polish in my opinion. I don't think you're going to get much deeper color from a second coat, and I also think that this one is going to do an awesome job at stamping. So here's a look at that completed mani at just 1 coat before top coat. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle again under artificial lighting. So next up is Days in the Sun, and this is described as a soft yellow cream. It does have that same really delicate red shimmer running throughout. I think it may be a little bit more apparent on this yellow base than it is in Pots of Tea, but still very delicate on the nail. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Days in the Sun swatched on my natural nail. So this first coat does go on really easy. It's a little bit thinner, and it's a little bit sheer here. So I'll let this dry and then come back in and show you what my second coat looks like. So here's a look at that second coat. I am going to go in for thicker coats with this polish. It did pull a little bit around the edges and in my cuticle there, so I definitely recommend keeping it nice and thin. These also take a quick second to dry, maybe a little bit longer than some of my other polishes in my collection. So here's a look at that third coat. This does bring it pretty well opaque. I did have some low spots still, so you may want to watch out for that. So here's a look at that completed mani before top coat. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and then once more again at an angle under artificial lighting. So next up is Gaston and On and On, and this is described as an icy light blue cream. So again, this is just a flat cream, no shimmer or anything running throughout here, very light. Almost Tiffany blue. It does have a touch of green in there. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Gaston and On swatched on my natural nail. So when I saw this color, it really reminds me of the decor in the room that they put Belle in the new movie. It does just have a very delicate touch of that teal, almost Tiffany blue feel to it. I'll go ahead and show you what my second coat looks like. The first coat went on nice and easy, but a little bit streaky. This second coat for sure brings this one completely opaque. So here's a look at that completed mani before top coat. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting. And then once more at an angle, again under artificial lighting. So next up is Enchanted Patina, and this is intended to be a topper. I do have a look at what this looks like over each of the colors on my blog if you're interested in that. This is a gold to rose gold shifting, really thin but really gorgeous gold patina topper. So I'll go ahead and show you a quick brush shot, and I'll show you how it applies all on its own. So here is this first coat. This polish is very thin, so you're not going to want to go in super thick. It's also going to be pretty sheer on its own. This first coat does go on nice and smooth, though really sheer, and you'll also notice that there are quite a good amount of brush strokes here. So I think with this, it may be better just to sponge it on, especially if you're going to wear it on its own. Just that light last coat, just stamp it right on there. So here's a quick look at how the third coat built up. This does bring it right to the edge of opaque, and I really do feel like it's a pretty finish, but I don't really enjoy the brush strokes here, so I would definitely sponge it on for future application. So here's a look at that completed mani before top coat. As you can see, it's going to show just absolutely every imperfection on the nail. You can see I'm working with a patch there on my index nail. So this is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle under that artificial lighting. So really quickly, I thought I'd share a quick nail art look with you. These are inspired by Plumette from the new movie. They changed her from like a French maid to more of a white peacock, which I really love. So here I'm going to throw down one coat of Plumette with Excitement and let that dry. Around my cuticle area, I'm using the Cuticulate nail tape. I am going to be going in for a gradient. I just want to protect my skin there and make it much easier to clean up. So next I'll be using a latex makeup sponge and going in with Plumette with Excitement, and then a little bit of Pots of Tea at the tip to make a gradient French tip. So I really enjoy this look. It's not as harsh as a typical French tip would look. So I did have to build up Pots of Tea quite a bit. I had to go back in with just extra on the sponge and kind of gradient it up and out. It's going to be really soft and really subtle, but I really loved how that looked. So once I had that white and nice and built up, I'm going to go in with a top coat. I'm using Liquid Macro from Super Chick Lacquer, and this is going to help blend even more. I do recommend going in while your polish is still a little bit wet, and then cap the tip. So once that has a little bit of time to dry, I'm going to clean up around my cuticle area. I'm going to take some tweezers and just remove that nail tape, and then go in with a cleanup brush and some acetone. So I'll be using Hee Hee Plate 034. I'm going to use the peacock feathers here towards the tip of this Phoenix image. I am going in with Enchanted Patina. I think it does an amazing job at stamping, especially over darker colors. So I'm just going to focus on the tip over that white gradient and place those peacock feathers. I did this across all of my nails. Next, I'm going to go in with a little bit more of Pots of Tea and Plumette with Excitement, just to feather it out and fill in the peacock feathers and make them more feathery. So I have sped this clip up quite a bit. I'm going to add eyes back into the center of those peacock feathers and then just lightly feather it out. Once that's had a little bit of time to dry, I'm going to go back in with my top coat. This is again a liquid macro. And also, I really loved how these look matte. I do prefer how they look matte. I think it really makes the Enchanted Patina pop, so I'd recommend that. Here's a look at that completed mani with a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. And this is my swatch photo, again at an angle under artificial lighting. So that does wrap up today's swatch and review of the Beauty and the Beast inspired spring collection, available now from Morgan Taylor. I do have more photos available on my blog if you're interested at sloppyswatches.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at sloppyswatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.